right, we want to stay on the issue of repealing Obamacare and more of the future for healthcare. Under President Trump, I want to bring in Jefferies senior healthcare analyst Dave Windley, who joins us from Tennessee for today's morning meeting. We just sort of heard the setup. What's going to be the best play for healthcare stocks if we repeal Obamacare and there's something new that's put in place?
So I think it's important to set the stage here that healthcare was the worst performing sector in the S&P 500 last year, but still is the third best over the last 5 years. And why is that? Well, Obamacare injected a lot of new spending into healthcare, and it benefited. The Trump administration appears to be wanting to take some of that out. We cover a group of stocks that are expert in doing that, are expert in controlling costs, and that's the managed care companies. So I would highlight them as a helper in this effort to reduce the cost of healthcare for the United States.
We did see companies like United Health sort of halt sales of health insurance through the Affordable Care Act exchanges. If we get some kind of replacement, do they buy into that?
I guess I'd give two answers there. One is you have to keep in mind that the exchanges themselves are a relatively small percentage of the overall picture, and United Healthcare is a very dominant provider of health insurance across many different products. But if we do get a more stable outlook for the individual market, I would expect that United would re-enter at some point, yes.
In the meantime, though, what kind of uncertainty can we expect in volatility in these names?
Absolutely. I think the next couple of quarters at least are going to be a period where we will get repeal, yes, and symbolically more than anything, but in terms of what that replacement looks like is going to be very uncertain. So I think there's going to be a period where investors will know what they don't have, but they won't know what they're getting in replacement.
Fair enough. And then what about drug pricing? I mean, we saw President-elect Trump sort of take aim at, say, Boeing and some, like Lockheed Martin, for example, and now starting to talk about drug pricing. Are we going to live in a world for the next 4 years where all the drug companies have to check Twitter when they wake up in the morning?
It does seem like we could be in a period of shots across the bow through Twitter, kind of attacking particular companies with headlines and profiles of high drug pricing. I think when you get down to the brass tacks of the issues, a couple of things would be to distinguish between companies that are truly innovating and pricing products that are life-saving, as opposed to just price increases on things like generic drugs. The other piece of this will be how we decide as a Republican-driven Washington, how they decide they want to protect investment and innovation in the pharmaceutical industry. So those are opposing goals for sure.
Dave Windley of Jefferies, thank you very much for joining this program.